extremely aggressive, and it's going to be extremely confrontational. Like, how are you fulfilling the mission of law enforcement? To praise those who are doing the right thing and to crush those who are doing it.
Can you please kill me? Dude, I would beat the pants off of a robot.
Why we're so passionate about putting out there in front of people these officers who are doing their job and then have charges dropped on them. Diversity, equity, inclusion, except if you're a white male.
No, he's trying to suck it.
My name is Chewy and I love meth. Dude, praise good, crush evil, chase truth. That's what we try to do on this podcast.
Gary.
Anthony, good to see you, buddy.
This is Two Cops, One Call.
Yeah, man.
Season number 2, episode number 19. I'm Anthony.
Episode.
This is Gary.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Okay.
Gary, you're wasting away.
Come on, man.
Are we doing we should start doing weigh-ins.
That'd be awesome.
We
Do
weigh
it
in,
live, yeah.
We weigh in before each episode. What are you weighing in these days?
Just under 210.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your goal's
200 by the holidays.
And
by
then,
Thanksgiving.
And then you can, are you giving you permission to go back up to 220 then?
No, I mean, I'm hoping not to, yeah. I want to get to 190, like after the new year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
190?
I'll be real thin.
Yeah. Dude, I'm like 195 right now.
Okay.
But
And I got like a foot on you, so.
yeah, you'll be real thin. You'll be emaciated, as they say.
Emaciated.
Give that guy some food.
I don't know if 190 is hard for me.
Yeah.
Like 190 is real hard. And I love food, so.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting that we start out the episode talking about your weight.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Can you imagine if like two women were doing this show? Like that would never be brought up. Ever.
I mean, women can do anything that men can do. So why would that be offensive?
That's true.
Why would that be
They
offensive?
should bring it up.
Yeah. How much you weighing today? How much you weighing today? Is that how it goes, right? Something
how
like
much
that.
do you weigh? Yeah. So, well, good. You're still cracking at it.
Yeah.
Did you do any like long?
No.
What was the longest one you did that you said on the last
4 days, 96 hours?
96 hours. You haven't done another 96 hour.
No, I read you should only do like 2 a year maybe.
And you did 2 of those in like what, a month?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did a 3-day and a 4-day. A couple weeks apart. But wow,
Your body's screaming.
No, my body's loving it. Loving it.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Dude,
I'm
what
glad
else is going on, man? What about you? What's been going on in your life?
So right before we got on this show, have you ever heard of AW Pink? What did I do with my phone?
It's recording this, dude. You're an idiot.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of AW Pink?
Like the Theologian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was reading about him.
Okay.
When I say reading about him, I spent 5 minutes on Wikipedia.
Okay.
Just like,
yeah, because you can trust Wikipedia.
Yeah, but it was interesting, and the reason I was reading about him, is because I recently saw a quote from him that I'm now trying to find.
Like he's an old guy, right? So, I forget how old.
He died in 1950s.
Okay.
I think he died in 1950s.
So a 20th century theologian.
Yeah. So it's super like he I guess he tried pastoring churches, but he wasn't very good at it because he was like very he didn't like to be around people. He was very like
interesting.
Introvert, like hermit, like so he was married, but he would spend like one of his letters he said something about, I go outside and I walk for 1 hour each day. 6 days a week, and the rest of the time I'm in my office writing. He did a lot of writing.
All right.
So, and pastoring churches didn't go super well for him.
You got to kind of be around people.
Yeah, he was, but anyways, so this quote I read is that the first time Christ came to slay sin in men, the second time he will come to slay men in sin. I was like, whoa.
Wait, say that again.
The first time Christ came to slay sin in men. The second time
to slay sin in men.
To slay sin in men.
Okay.
The second time he will come to slay men in sin.
Interesting.
I read the quote. I was like,
that's a good
whoa.
quote.
I was like, That is that's a
Yeah, mercy is for now. When he comes again, when he returns, there is no mercy.
You open your eyes in the morning, that's mercy.
Yeah. Every breath you take is
a
gift.
I read that quote and I was like, wow, that is you don't hear quotes like that very often in our day and age. And I mean you do, but that's not popular. That's not a popular quote. Especially when we talk about this other pastor and this other story that we're going to talk about, this pastor shot with Pepperballs. So
we're going to talk about that one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, we have an update on Officer Lunsford. Portland PD's losing their minds. No surprise there. And we have a locally viral video out of York City PD, which is not far from where we record from our mega studio here.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things we're going to talk about. But yeah, before we got on the episode, I was reading about A.W. Pink because I didn't really know much about him. Interesting cat.
That's wild to be a pastor but don't want to be around people. So
he wasn't really a pastor very much. So he wrote. He did a lot of writing.
Okay, gotcha.
The pastoring thing didn't work out too well for him. It sounds
that makes sense. I mean, to be a pastor is to be among the people.
Yeah, shepherd. It's kind of hard to shepherd people if you're not among the people. So.
Yeah, if you just let the sheep kind of do their thing. It's kind of but it looks like God used him. I mean, that's a great quote.
It is a great quote.
It's thought-provoking.
It is thought-provoking because when you read it, you're like, oh, I don't like the tone. Yeah. I don't like the tone of that.
Tone.
It's all about the tone in this day and age. So, but it's a true statement. When I first read it, I was like, okay. Yeah. So,
and what a grace that is that he came. He didn't have to come to slay sin in men. Right. He didn't have to do that.
No.
But out of love for his creation, he would do that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Makes my heart happy.
Yeah.
To hear things like that.
For sure.
And that's for all people.
That's
all
for
places
all
and
people.
in all times until he returns.
Yeah. We
can continue to shake our fist at him, but that fist is going to be broken.
Yeah, and we can continue to rebel against statements like Jesus is the way, the only way, the truth, the life.
Yeah.
And we can be upset with that, and people get angry at statements like that. But how quickly they forget or don't realize that he provided that way.
Yeah.
He provided that way when he came the first time to die in our place. Like, what grace, what mercy that is. Because a statement like "I am the way, the truth, and the life," it's too restrictive. It's not loving. That sort of thing. But no, that's why he can say that, because he did show us his love by coming to take our penalty. It just comes down to repenting and believing on our end of things. So, anyways. Well, we went full mode there.
Yeah.
So I think what I want to talk about first, Gary. So right before our last episode, when we recorded it, we knew the judge in the Officer Lunsford case was going to be coming out with his decision in the motion they had put forward, and the motion was, that Officer Lunsford deserves a new trial based on juror bias issues. That was the main crux of it. So sure enough, shortly after that last episode, the judge came out, Judge Foy. What I didn't realize, and I just learned just before we got on this episode, was that Judge Foy, James Foy is his name, is the same judge that oversaw the actual trial. So this motion for a new trial went in front of him.
Okay.
So it
didn't go to a higher court, which is what I thought it did.
Yeah. Unless the articles I was reading were wrong, but it appears that because they did have a motion that was denied.
It was quashed, yeah.
Was quashed. And then this motion was in front of Judge Foy when they were requesting another trial. So the most interesting things that came out of his ruling, did you read the full ruling?
No.
Okay. Dude, one of these episodes, I'm literally going to say, you do the outline for it.
But you're better at it.
You say I'm better at it because you don't want to do it.
No. All right, man. What's it say?
One of these episodes, we're gonna, and that's what we're gonna call it. We're gonna be the episode that Gary
outlines.
That Gary outlined.
Okay.
And then we're gonna compare it.
Okay. You're better than me, dude. You got it. Dude, you're a mess.
I love messing with you.
God, no,
it's so
great.
easy. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that people don't realize. I mess with you a lot on these episodes, but you're always like super kind to me on these episodes.
Because I'm a kind guy.
They don't see the Gary off camera, off mic, who's like giving me the business.
Okay.
Who likes giving me the business.
Yeah.
I think you should bring that Gary on the episodes where you give me more business. Because it seems like I'm like the jerk. In our friendship, it seems like I'm the jerk. You're like the beaten spouse. You just kind of, I just give it to you all the time, and you got to give it back.
I'm happy to take it, dude. I'm happy to take it. I'm like one of those protesters that like just stand in the background, and all of a sudden I get hit by a pepperball. It's like, why am I getting hit?
After I've been told 40 times to get out of the street, and then I get hit with a pepperball, and I'm like, they didn't give us any warnings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the warning was you standing around a bunch of people with masks on their face throwing bottles and rocks. I don't know. Anyways, we'll get to that later. But yeah, so his ruling was super interesting. In regards to the juror error, Judge James Foy says the court believes the error prejudiced the defendant, affecting his substantial rights. So that was early on in his ruling. So basically saying the error that was made by the court with the jurors, caused him to was prejudiced against the defendant, against Officer Lunsford. Also in Judge Foy's ruling, he had some strong opinions in this. He said, given this court's vast experience in the criminal law, both as an elected district attorney who tried cases on behalf of the prosecution for almost 7 years, and an attorney who engaged in criminal defense at both state and federal levels for approximately 25 years. Lastly, as a state district court judge who has handled criminal cases for at least 7 years, this court remains steadfast in the belief that the state's proof that the defendant was not justified in killing the decedent was weak at best. With that belief, the court can understand the position of acquittal from the juror who should have been seated, but was not due to this court's error. So basically he's saying because of this court's error with the juror situation, and the juror that should have been seating to reach the verdict was not, and that juror is saying that he would have found in favor of the defendant, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Rightly so.
But I thought it was crazy that he said that the state's proof is weak at best.
Which is interesting because the judge is not the finder of facts, right? It's the jury,
right.
But he sits and oversees the proceedings. So he hears everything that the jury does.
Correct.
But he doesn't make that decision because it's a jury trial.
Right.
Which I think is super interesting. So he's saying it's weak.
And and to be clear, in the trial, he didn't say that. He would not make this statement during the trial. You can't.
Right.
But now that this motion is in front of him, he's putting forth, hey, the prosecution's evidence was weak at best.
Yeah.
And we have a juror who should have been sitting on the jury to make the decision, and instead a alternate was in that position.
And it was the court's
mistake.
The court did that and shouldn't have. That's what I'm saying.
And that caused prejudice against the defendant.
Dude, it takes a lot for a judge. I mean, you're in power.
Right.
And to admit that you made a mistake is huge. And it's the right thing to do. If he feels like he made a mistake, which it seems like he did.
Yeah, he's
like
saying.
He's owning it.
He's like, this was the court's error.
This is the difference with like lots of things happening in the world is
right.
like just owning your mistakes. Like
right.
You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
So own them.
Yeah. He went on to say later in the ruling, the defendant had every right to take the decedent into custody. Had that occurred without incident, we would not be here today.
Yeah. Which is what we say all the time, right?
Yeah.
If you just comply, with the police,
you don't run the risk of dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
He also said this court believes the state's case on proof beyond a reasonable doubt that the force used was not objectively reasonable was weak. One of the jurors who should have deliberated, but for the court's error, says the defendant is not guilty. It is therefore ordered the defendant's first supplemental motion for a new trial based upon improper jury substitution is granted. So that came down right after our last episode, and awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, awesome news. And so I saw this, and I was like, well, I hope Attorney General Raul Torres is like, you know what? Maybe we should just let this case lay. Maybe no. Yeah. He doubles down. He said his written response: today's decision to set aside the jury's findings of guilt has devastated the suspect's family and further undermines the public faith in New Mexico's criminal justice system, Torres said in a written statement. The presiding judge in both today's order and throughout the proceedings has repeatedly mischaracterized the factual record, improperly weighed in on the strength of the state's case, and committed numerous procedural errors that prejudiced the prosecution. Well, he also committed procedural errors that prejudiced the defendant. I think you can make that argument. Torres continued, we intend to file an immediate appeal to prevent a grave miscarriage of justice and to demonstrate to all New Mexicans that no one is above the law, even those who are charged with upholding it.
Yeah, this is going to be dragged out, dude.
This guy kills me, man.
Yeah,
this AG.
It's brutal.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was hoping, as was the case with, what was the case we were just discussing, where he was found, it was like a mistrial or a hung jury, and the prosecutor came back and said, no, we're not gonna retry this. I was hoping he would go that route. He didn't. He's doubling down, it looks like. And so while it's a victory for Officer Lunsford, now this thing just gets drug on even further.
And I'll say this. I think cases get weaker the longer it gets.
Right.
Like prosecutions become weaker.
Right.
The longer it waits and the longer it festers.
Right.
It gets weaker.
Yeah, I agree. And so we'll see what happens with this case, but it was a huge victory. It was for the Lunsford family, and the fact that he actually gets a new trial. I hope it doesn't even get to that point. I hope AG Raul Torres sees the light and is like, you know what, we're not going to try this case again. Yeah. It is a weak case. It's a super weak case, and we've broken down that case.
Yeah, and how about we go after criminals?
Yeah,
right?
I
mean, it's just super annoying that they're going to waste all of this time. Lots of other attorneys who are going to litigate this before the courts instead of just going after the criminals.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the last episode, we talked about that. These career criminals that are constantly being released. And I was thinking about that more after that episode and our discussion on being desensitized to crime, and the fact that even if you have someone who's been arrested 10 times in 5 years for minor, like what we would consider minor crimes, that continuing to be allowed without consequence, it like sin without consequence grows into more and bigger sin. So if you have someone who's constantly breaking the law, it's going to progress into bigger and bigger crimes. And that's why I think it's important these career criminals, even if they're committing minor offenses, need to be held accountable. And at some point, I do think at some point we need to say, listen, if you have this many arrests in 5 years, whatever, 3 years, like you're, kind of like that 3 strikes and you're out type thing. Mm-hmm. If you, regardless of what level of crime it is, whether it's a violent crime or it's not a violent crime, we're throwing the book at you. You're getting an automatic 10 years or, whatever in state prison because unchecked, those crimes will continue to grow and that criminal will continue to do worse and worse things. So
and society suffers because of it.
Exactly.
Like the citizens who are just living life as like members of a society
Yeah.
who are doing the right thing,
Right.
they everybody suffers for it. Everybody in that community.
Yeah.
So you got to take that person out of the community.
Right. And what resonated with on our last episode was Miss Federico's dad giving that statement to that commission. His daughter murdered by a career criminal. Like, what are we doing? We're wasting, like you said, we're wasting time and energy and resources trying to prosecute a cop who was not breaking the law. He was doing his job, and in the course of doing his job, met with someone who wanted to resist him.
Yeah.
And resisted to a point where it became a deadly force situation.
Yeah, wanted to take a weapon from the officer who was trying to arrest him. Right.
That officer, the other officer, was injured in that incident with Officer Lunsford. I'm not sure what.
I mean, in reality, if this guy just gets arrested, he's going to be released because that's what happens. So he's not going to be held accountable for anything anyway.
Right.
So just get arrested and then walk out. Like that's the society we live in. So just let yourself get arrested.
Yeah.
You'll be released within 4 hours.
Just comply.
Comply. There's no consequences anyway.
He definitely would have got out immediately because he was looking at a false identification to law enforcement and a retail theft at that point. He would have been in the front door and out the back door in a couple hours. A couple hours. But yeah, instead we're
yes, that's good news.
Yeah, that is awesome news, and we're super happy about it. And again, we'll just continue to keep everyone up to date with that case as it progresses. But yeah, instead of prosecuting Officer Lunsford and police officers trying to do their job, you sent me this pastor that was shot with the Pepperball.
This is in Chicago, right?
Yeah, this is in Chicago. It's at the Broadview Detention Center. It's an ICE detention center. I was back on September 19th. This pastor gets shot with Pepperballs. One of them hits him in the head. He's the pastor of the First Presbyterian Church of Chicago, and his name is
David Black.
Thank you. Yeah, David Black.
We can show the video.
Yeah, here he is talking about it. He did an interview on a.
Which one are you showing? Are you going to show him getting hit with the Pepperball or just the interview?
Well, during his interview, he breaks it down. They show him getting hit with the Pepperball, and he's talking about it. So yeah, we'll take a look at that.
I felt called in that moment by the traditions of my faith to minister to those who were persecuting peaceful protesters and people who had gathered to pray, to sing songs of liberation, and to call for the release of our captive neighbors. So I stepped forward and I prayed for the ICE officers who were standing on that roof, and I called them to repentance in very traditional Christian language, inviting them to believe the good news and to enter an altar call to come and leave behind what they were doing. And as I was praying audibly to them, they opened fire on me and shot me twice in the head, another 5 times on the body at least. I wonder about the training of these ICE agents, and I wonder about their intention.
DHS says the protesters were blocking federal vehicles. Did you happen to see that? Not that that excuses what we saw in that video, but what was your... Were protesters blocking ICE vehicles and preventing federal officers from doing their jobs?
When I arrived, that was not happening.
There are some religious people, Christians, who are on the other side of this issue. When you talk to those people who would say, let immigrants come in, let them go through the proper process, what do you say to those people?
They have not reached out to me.
You have not had any, have you reached out to them?
Have I reached out to them? That's an interesting question. I have been called in this moment to proclaim the gospel, and I will continue to do that. I'm so grateful, again, for all of the valor of Chicagoans who show up with $40 of protective gear against ICE agents and $50,000 of tactical gear and weapons, again, with nothing but prayers and chants, songs of liberation, and just words of good conscience.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there.
Pastor hit by Pepperballs.
Pastor hit by Pepperballs. Obviously, you hear him breaking down what's happening. He's just there. Here's the thing, and we talk about this on the episodes all the time. These videos that are out there, you don't see the street behind him. You don't. It's not a wide view of what's going on.
Yeah.
Does it look like he's standing directly in front of the gate? So you can kind of see the gate where vehicles would come in and out of from the detention center. He's not standing directly in front of that gate. But, as I'm talking here, I'm throwing up pictures of what's going on at that detention center, and pictures from other news reports of what's going on in that detention center. And you can see the amount of people that are out there, the amount of people that are actually moving to block vehicles when they come out. And these vehicles contain people who have been detained by ICE. Some of them are gang members. Some of them have been convicted of violent crimes. And here's the thing. If you are in a position where you are affecting the ability of a law enforcement agency to carry out their duties, that no longer falls under your First Amendment rights to protest. And you are allowed to protest. What you can't do is you can't block federal agents from doing their job. You can't keep them from going in and out of their building without being harassed. You can't keep them from moving detainees from one location to another. You can't make it so dangerous that there's a chance that detainees could be let go or remove themselves from detainment. You can't be a danger to the ICE agents. So while you may be there standing on the sidewalk calling ICE agents to repentance, which mean
an altar call.
They're trying to protect the building, protect their people, and protect the detainees that are there and keep them from escaping. You can't do whatever you want to do.
You can't
do whatever you want to do. Now, when you watch the video, you're like, okay, they pegged him in the head with a pepper ball.
Not ideal.
Didn't
want to happen. I'm sure they didn't want to hit him in the head.
And he's saying that after that happened, they were laughing and joking and you can't tell that from the video. You can't it does look like the pepper balls are coming from the roof, but I couldn't really tell if one of the ICE agents up there had fired the pepper ball that struck him. But they had fired a couple at him that hit him in the body initially,
and just stood there.
And he just stood there and took it. I guess I'm just like, is that what a pastor should be doing?
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because 10 days earlier he was at another protest. I think he's just an agitator, man.
He is.
Yeah. And he said he had long underwear on and he was drenched. Well, why are you wearing long underwear?
Right.
It's not cold. You're wearing it so that way it doesn't hurt when you get hit by a pepper ball. You're expecting to get hit by a pepper ball because of your actions.
Right.
Because you know that this is what they're going to do. So you're trying to get, you're like baiting the ICE agents.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't like that he got hit in the head.
Sure.
He's going to be fine. It's a pepper ball, man. It literally, it's less than a paintball.
Yeah.
Like the danger from it. It's not ideal. You can't shoot somebody. You shouldn't shoot somebody in the face.
Right. And they're shooting it from basically paintball guns. That's what these things are shooting.
Yeah, that's what they look like. Yeah.
So it's not like this is a deadly weapon or anything. They're pepper balls.
And somebody walks right in front of him to kind of take some of the pepper balls, which maybe is what caused him to get hit in the head, because they were shooting. You know what I mean? Because the angles.
It could have deflected.
It's a mistake.
Yeah.
ICE doesn't want any more heat than they're already getting.
Right.
I mean, they really don't.
The first couple he takes are right to the body.
Yeah. And then someone kind of steps in front, and it looks like, to me, it looks like they were trying to hit that guy, missed him, and hit him in the head.
Right.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's not that they were aiming at his head and just zapping him in the face.
Yeah, it was one shot. And again, we don't know if it deflected.
And again, the crowd behind him, I don't think you see it in this video, but it's graphic. You shouldn't. It's like, get off my effing land.
Right.
And it's constantly screaming that.
Right.
But it's theirs. It's ICE. It's the federal government's land. That's whose it is. It's their facility.
Right.
Get off my land. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
So it's not like this is a church service. He wasn't preaching, and even if it was, you wouldn't have heard him. He didn't have a megaphone. So I don't know, man. He's not the only person that got hit by a pepper ball. I think it's
Right.
It's literally just like at that moment you're an agitator, you're a protester, you're someone impeding the government's ability to do their job.
Right.
That's what you're doing.
Right.
So
And I think if
there are consequences.
Right. And I think as a pastor, if you feel that you really need to be involved in denouncing what ICE is doing, if that's something that you believe you have been called to as a pastor, why not? Like, why are you in the front? Like, why aren't you in the back praying with a group of people? It's interesting to hear how he frames it. Like, people just standing there singing songs of liberation and dancing. I'm like, well, the pictures we've just shown, that's not what they're doing at that detention center. And then I thought it was interesting when they asked him, well, were vehicles being blocked from coming out? Were they blocking? He's like, well, not when I got there.
Right.
So,
like not when I first got there.
Yeah.
So like that happened at some point.
Right.
He just doesn't want to say it because it makes him look bad.
And here's the thing: that's a deceptive answer.
If
you ask a question like that, like if we as police officers ask someone a question, and the response is, "Well, not that I know of,"
right,
or "Not when I was there," those are
not when I was first there.
Not when I was first there.
Yeah.
Those are deceptive answers.
Yeah.
Those are deceptive answers.
It's a yes or no, right?
It's a yes or no, and
Yeah.
so whether or not you were personally engaged in violence or throwing things or cursing at the ICE agents or actively blocking, you're with a crowd of people that are intent on doing that and have been doing that over the past several weeks. The pictures I showed were right around, I don't know that they were on the same day that this happened, but right around that time period at this detention facility. So that's the type of activities that's going on there. So you as a pastor, if you're going to insert yourself into a crowd of people that are engaged in that type of activity, and then you don't disperse when you're told to disperse, yes, you might get pepperballed. It's not like they're like, okay, we're going to pepperball the crowd, but here we have a pastor, over here we have a teacher, and I don't think that was in the video clips I played, but he talks about that later. He points out, like, if this is how ICE agents treat pastors and teachers, then what are they doing to our neighbors behind the gate?
Yeah. I love that he calls them neighbors too. Like, at some point, we have to remember. These are people who are here illegally.
Right.
They're supposed to be guests. Well, actually, they're not even supposed to be guests. They've just come through the border, and they're not assimilating. Right. Most people are not assimilating. They're just taking from the people who live here, our people,
right.
Americans. They're taking from Americans, and
ICE is.
And he also says God. He starts yelling after this video. I don't think it's in this video, but after it, he's like, "God is watching you. God is watching you. God sees what you're doing." I'm like, yeah, and he's pleased. The government is fulfilling their function and role as he has like wanted them to do, as he's willed for them to do. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point about this neighbors issue. Like, he's fixated and focused on our neighbors. He refers to illegal aliens as our neighbors. It's fascinating to me how a pastor can put forth a message of loving our neighbors at the expense of other neighbors.
Yeah.
Like, love of neighbor is it's not like we just, the liberal side of things, it's like you focus on the neighbor from the other country that came into our country illegally. What about the neighbors beside you that are actually, residents of this country, citizens of this country who are being injured, hurt, murdered, raped by these quote unquote neighbors that have come into our country illegally?
Yeah. Yeah. And we're not saying all illegal immigrants are brutal criminals.
No.
But that's what it seems like ICE is going after. I think they need to go after lots more, but but they're going after is what they're telling us is the criminal element of the illegals.
Right. But I mean, I would disagree with you a little bit. They're going after anyone here that is here illegally. Like they just arrested a police officer. I can't remember.
Oh yeah,
what state
I just saw this too. Yeah.
They just arrested a police officer. I can't remember what state that was, who has been here illegally since like 2015. Has outstayed his visa, and it has been here illegally since 2015. Right. Became a police officer at agency. They arrested him.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're not like they're playing favorite. They're going after people who have broken the law, who are here illegally.
Yeah. Like this goes back to honoring our I think this goes back partly to the fact that we're to honor our father and mother. So if you've been here for generations, right? Your fathers, your grandfathers, your great grandfathers fought, built, and created this like great country that we have and left it to us.
Right.
And we're saying, I don't want it, give it to somebody else.
Right.
Like, so we're not honoring our parents when we're just giving up our land, giving up our, all that we have here in this great nation, when we're just basically giving it up. We're snubbing our nose at our lineage.
Right.
At our fathers who built this great nation.
Yeah. And you can't like hide behind this love your neighbor thing when it means vacating what God has called government officials to do.
Yeah.
And what he's called government authority to do is establish laws that protect the citizens in its country.
Yeah.
In their country. So, you can't just be in the silo, love neighbor, but oppose everything else God has established in his word in that love. Like you can't separate the two.
Yeah.
So, what I would say to Pastor Black is, okay, so your neighbor are people that are coming here illegally. That's your neighbor. And that love of neighbor supersedes the love of neighbors here in this country. It supersedes love of your neighbor, the ICE agent. It supersedes love of and submission to your neighbor government officials. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're putting forth by engaged in this action? And it is.
Yeah.
And so basically you have a pastor who's denying the word of God in order to promote love of neighbor.
Yeah.
And he's showing you in that he doesn't understand love of neighbor. He doesn't understand what we're called to holistically as believers in Jesus Christ.
I mean, do you think it's a coincidence that like housing prices has doubled, tripled since like 30 million more people came here? You know what I mean? Like,
Probably
you don't
not.
think that has anything? I mean, that has a lot to do with why everything is way more expensive.
Right.
Is there's more people. It's like supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
I'm not an economist, but like I would imagine that has something to do with it. Houses are harder to find because there's more people. And there are more people that have just come in.
Right.
Because previous governments have just allowed people to come in.
Right.
Ignoring the law and just letting them come in.
And how evil is that to have a government that encourages the violation of law?
Yeah.
And that's what we had under the Biden administration. We had government officials encouraging people to break the law.
Right.
That's evil.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
And then rewarding them when they get here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
free health care.
Giving them
money.
things that our own citizens are struggling to get themselves. And so, to stand there and like you stand on your soapbox of love of neighbor, when your neighbor are illegal aliens, that's your love of neighbor. That's how you're defining love of neighbor is supporting, celebrating, encouraging illegal activity, people to come into this country illegally. That doesn't make you superior to other people then. And I think that's the thing that rubs me the wrong way with a pastor like this is he has this, when he's talking, he has this level of feeling superior and arrogant about how his love of neighbor is better than other other believers who believe differently. I mean, that one question that the news anchor asks him, have you talked to any other? He's like, there's Christians out there that would believe that
ICE is doing the right thing.
That ICE is doing the right thing, and that immigrants can come into this country if they do it in a legal way. And he like kind of smirks and is like, no, I haven't talked to those people.
Yeah, no one's reached out to me.
No one's reached out to me. And then the news anchor follows it up with, well, have you reached out to them? And he's like, well, that's an interesting question. Well, no, it's not an interesting question. It's a valid question
right.
that you're refusing to answer.
Right.
And then immediately after that, he hides behind the gospel.
Yeah.
In his response, he's like, I've been called to preach the gospel. Well, okay. So now you're hiding behind the gospel. Now you're projecting that these ICE agents you don't know anything about the hearts of these ICE agents.
Yeah.
You know nothing about them. But you're presuming that they need a call to repentance. And we should put forth a call to repentance to everybody because we don't know their hearts or anything.
Sure.
But you're in your interview here and in your statements, you're drawing a line in the sand that the gospel is not for your illegal aliens that are coming across this country, but it's for the evil ICE agents.
Right.
That's
who are
what
trying to send them back to their own homes.
Yeah. And I guess I would ask Pastor Black, like, I don't know if he has a family or anything like that, but if
he doesn't. He
Okay.
has a dog. He lives with a dog. He's single. He lives with a
Okay.
dog.
So let's say Pastor Black's at his house, and just some illegal alien comes to his door and says, I don't have any place to stay. I want to stay inside your house. I would want to know, is Pastor Black, out of love of neighbor, going to allow an unknown, unvetted person to stay in his house?
Not just person. Let's be realistic. 10 people, 20 people.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it's one or two. We're talking
Right.
30 million, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just interesting. It breaks. I think it breaks down when you start bringing it on a personal level, like, love of neighbor, but not when it could affect my safety, the safety of my dog, the safety of my family.
Yeah. The things that I have in my house.
The things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you bring it down to a personal level like that, does your love of neighbor end then? And the bottom line is, again, when you look at the whole of Scripture, love of neighbor does not mean that you then not love your family and not love those neighbors beside you. So if someone came to my house, an unknown, it doesn't even have to be an illegal alien, anyone that I don't know comes to my house and says, hey, I need a place to stay. You're a pastor. You're supposed to love your neighbor. Let me stay in your house. Well, like, your argument falls apart. Like, you're also called to love and lead your family, to protect your family. You're called to have a level of wisdom, discernment, to be innocent as doves and wise as serpents. Like, we don't just welcome unknown people into our homes that could possibly victimize us and our families.
Right.
So is that not love of neighbor then? But that's basically what you're projecting onto the government, that the government needs to, in this idea of love your neighbor, just welcome people into our country, encourage them to break the law and come into our country, and reward them. That's what you're promoting, as a pastor. So it's it's interesting, and the statement from Assistant Secretary, Department of Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin, released a statement after this, video went viral, and they're like, "Oh my word, they're shooting pastors with pepperballs. This is so bad. He's just loving his neighbor." She released a statement on X, and she said, "This footage is from almost a month ago. What this clipped video doesn't show is that these agitators were blocking an ICE vehicle from leaving the federal facility, impeding operations." And I believe her because, again, just a little bit ago, I showed all these pictures from the same detention center where this is happening. This is actively happening on a regular basis. She said over and over again, law enforcement ordered these agitators to move off federal property so that the vehicle could move. Law enforcement verbally warned these agitators that they would use force if they did not move and stop impeding operations. They did not comply. Shortly after, rioters began throwing rocks, bottles, and launching fireworks at the law enforcement officers on the roof. Again, the video doesn't show that. At least I didn't see that in the video. But at the time of this incident, this facility held criminal illegal aliens, including gang members, drug traffickers, and other violent criminals. Obstructing law enforcement puts officers, detainees, and the public at risk. If you're obstructing law enforcement, you can expect to be met with force. And then she says, as an aside, this is the same pastor, she puts it in quotes, who flipped off Secretary Noem and our team. He flipped us the bird when we were there last week. So he's been there multiple days. It doesn't appear he's shepherding his flock. He's promoting people breaking the law.
Right.
That's what he's doing as a pastor. I got a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
So
I don't like it.
But it's a interesting microcosm into our culture right now, I think.
Yeah.
To see it.
Yeah. And he's going to he's suing the federal government. I'm sure there's others.
Yeah.
For the force used against him.
Yeah. Yeah. So what
the government shut down, so he's not going to get any money anyway.
Yeah. So what should be happening there, I think probably what would have solved this whole problem at this detention center, at this ICE center.
I can't wait to hear this.
Is what Portland's doing with their DLOs. So what's a DLO?
Tell me, Anthony.
A dialogue liaison officer. Man, that's a hard word to say. This
dialogue liaison officer.
So
dude, this is awesome.
I mean, Portland is onto something here. Maybe they should start doing this in Chicago because this might have solved the problem. This article is out of Fox News. Portland police seek public's help after safe space officer loses track of assault suspect near ICE facility. So Portland is doing this. So ICE obviously has buildings and places in Portland, and these places also are seeing large levels of unrest, riotous behavior, and that type of behavior around these agencies. And Portland police actually put out a press release asking for the public's help in finding this woman who had assaulted someone near this ICE detention center. And it said after one of its dialogue liaison officers, DLOs, is a sworn officer tasked with holding a safe space for protesters, lost track of this assault suspect. So the Portland police and their DLO officer was monitoring a gathering outside the ICE building. I'm sure it was a peaceful gathering. It sounds like it because someone was assaulted. And this DLO, again, a sworn police officer, was flagged down about this suspect assaulting someone else. The DLO followed the woman, who was described as a white female with a large septum nose piercing, wearing a black mask and carrying a backpack, trying to talk to her and hear her side of the story. That's what the DLO was doing.
Yeah, dialogue.
Providing like a safe space to talk to the assault suspect and get their side of the story. Because there's always two sides to a story. And so we need to dialogue with the person. And this was according to the news release from the Portland police. So, this assault suspect, realizing that she's dealing with a DLO who's a sworn police officer, but who literally they cannot get involved in law enforcement action. That's what the Portland police have put out on their website, that DLOs cannot engage in enforcement action. The only thing they can do is dialogue and provide a safe space for that dialogue. So when this assault suspect realized that she's dealing with the DLO, she's like, well, I'm out of here. You can't stop me. Your badge means nothing.
That is awesome, dude.
And so she takes off, and then, the DLO has to call in
real cops.
Like other police officers who are sworn that actually do enforce the law. And she was long gone. So the city's website says DLOs were put in place to build relationships with protesters following the violent 2020 protests in Portland. I mean, here's the thing. Have we not learned anything from 2020?
No.
Because even
Portland hasn't.
Even though, our department, Lancaster City, did not have DLOs, dialogue liaison officers, we tried this in 2020.
Yeah.
We were ahead of Portland. We were being more
progressive
yeah.
than Portland.
I'm sure Portland was doing the same thing, where we tried to put sworn police officers out in a crowd of people who had demands that were ridiculous. They didn't even know what their demands were. They were there because they hated the police.
Right.
That's why they were there. And we put officers out in this crowd to try to talk to them and engage in relationship building. It was the craziest thing.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
No.
And so it didn't work in 2020. And so now we're in 2025 and we're like, well, that didn't work back then, but maybe it'll work now. It's not going to work. Trying to dialogue with people who are set on breaking the law does not work.
Right.
When are we going to learn this in the profession? When are chiefs and people who are at high command levels going to learn the only thing that stops this is giving the orders and then throwing the gas and clearing the street? That's the only thing that's going to work.
Right.
Giving the orders, clearing the street, arresting the main agitators.
Because it's not the role or the mission of policing.
Correct.
Of law enforcement policing to dialogue.
Right. And
it's just not.
And again, that's what we've talked about ad nauseum on this podcast is that mission drift. If you go on Portland's website, they have so many programs. They have a food bank program. They have these DLOs. They have all types of community outreach programs. And sworn police officers are part of these programs.
Yeah.
You literally are putting your people who have a mission to enforce the law. You're taking them away from that mission and you're putting them on a mission that should not be handled by the police.
Yeah, it's a different job.
Yes.
It's a different role.
It's a completely different role. And it's a role and a mission that the police department should not be engaged in, because to be engaged in it means that their actual mission and their actual role is completely abdicated and not being done. Fox News highlighted Officer Jessica Rush. I think her name is how you say her last name.
This is the DLO?
She's a DLO. She's an exemplary DLO featured on Portland's site. She wrote in May 2025 that liaison officers are stationed at protests, quote, to get an idea of what that group is going to need to create or hold a safe space. So you have a uniformed police officer who's
creating a safe space,
trying to create a safe space for people who are set on
violence.
Criminal activity.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a more clear view of a complete opposite mission of what the police should be doing, that's it.
Right.
A sworn officer trying to help people break the law.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You have a sworn police officer trying to talk to, encourage, help people break the law in a nonviolent way, I guess. I mean, it's wild to me. Yeah. I don't get it. She admits on the site, this officer, Jessica Rush, admits on the site that she grew up going to protests, calling them, quote, a celebration of community values.
Okay.
She's like, we don't have a riot squad anymore. That's an antiquated model.
Jeez. I just can't, Anthony.
Which is, of course it's an antiquated model to you. You've probably, if you've been to protests and grew up going to protests, you've probably dealt with riot police.
Yeah, you probably didn't like it. Yeah.
The vocabulary implies that the entire group of protesters has a single mindset, Rush wrote. We do have a rapid response team who are trained to respond to potentially hazardous situations like civil disturbances or natural disasters. They come in when they need to address something quickly, and then they get out of there. We don't want to be the bad guys. Officer Rush, you are not the bad guy in these situations. The police are not the bad guy. The people who are set on blocking streets, throwing things at the police, interfering with the police, assaulting people, those are the bad guys.
Yeah.
In that situation, those are the bad guys. And your job as a sworn police officer should be to stop the bad guys,
Right.
not give them a safe space to operate. And to your point about, what is she says, celebration community, get an idea of what the group is going to need and create a safe space to them. We don't want to say that everyone in this group is engaged in criminal activity. As soon as law enforcement gives you a lawful order to disperse, and you're in that group, and you choose not to disperse, guess what? You are now breaking the law.
Yeah, it's groupthink.
It's regardless of whether your neighbor beside you is the one throwing rocks,
Or if you're a
not,
pastor.
or if you're a pastor, if you're standing beside someone who is throwing rocks, throwing bottles, engaged in interfering with the police, assaulting people, but you're not engaged in that, maybe you're just a pastor there trying to call people to repentance. As soon as the order is given for you to clear the street and you don't do that, you are now part of breaking the law.
Yeah, one time.
Yeah.
Being told one time.
And we're required to do it more than one time.
Yep. But one time should be enough.
One time should be enough. But we're required to give multiple warnings
Over a time frame.
Time frame. Give people time to disperse. So if you're being given those warnings multiple times, given time to disperse, and you choose not to disperse, you are the criminal in that situation.
Yeah.
And you should not be given a safe space. And no one should be dialoguing with you unless the dialogue is at the end of a pepper ball or a rubber bullet or tear gas.
Yeah.
Like that's the bottom line, but perhaps in Chicago, Pastor Black, maybe if a DLO was there, this would have ended differently.
Sounds like he was trying to be a DLO.
Maybe he was trying to be a DLO. I think he was a DLO on mission drift as a pastor, but whatever. What do I know?
Dialogue liaison officer.
Dialogue liaison
Dude, I would
officer.
never do that job. Ever.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, who are you going to get to sign up to do that job?
People who think like this. Protesters.
Officer
yeah.
Rush,
Yeah,
who has engaged in protests.
Yeah.
She's grown up in them.
Yeah.
That's who you're going to get to do that job. Like, can you imagine doing the background? Like, how do you... And what's the point of making you a sworn police officer then? Like, what is your purpose? What is your point?
Because it looks good to somebody.
I guess a sworn police officer. I wonder how they dress.
I don't know.
I'm sure they're not in uniform.
I don't know. You don't think?
I don't know. I'd like to.
Dude, I love that the chick with the septum.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm out. Just leaves. Like, I think that's hilarious.
And that these protesters are like,
and this officer's probably like, she just left. I was dialoguing with her, creating a safe space so we could dialogue, and she just left.
She rolled out.
I don't understand. How could she do that? I was creating a safe space for her. I was just talking to her. Why would she leave me? Like, it's hilarious to me. Like,
and they're
she's a
not
criminal.
allowed
She's
to
like,
enforce.
She's like, yeah, I'm out.
And
because she knew there was no consequences.
Oh, 100%.
And she's like, I'm out. I'm not dealing with this.
100%.
I love it, dude. I love that happened.
And the crowd probably knows within seconds who a DLO is. And they're probably like, that's just a DLO.
Yeah, we ain't worried about her.
Well, she has a badge on.
You're
good, man.
Yeah, just push her.
Like dialogue with her and thank her for creating safe space. She'll be your friend.
Yeah. Ask her for something. You need some water? She'll probably get it for you. Hey, go get me a coffee.
Yeah, but you just punch that person in the head.
Nah,
I need a water.
That's a DLO.
I'm worn out.
Yeah, go get me a water.
Give me a water.
Hey, how about some ice for my fist here? It's sore from punching that.
I have a chair. I need to sit down. I'm a little out of breath from
Dude, it's unreal.
Beating someone.
Oh, man. That's so dumb.
Oh, yeah. So, and then lastly, we got this viral video out of York City PD, which is close to us. Yeah. So
You want to set it up first before you play the video?
So, all right. So here's the setup. I think usually on this podcast, we usually like break down videos from extremely critical incidents, like, you know, whether it's officer involved shooting, stuff like that. You know, this video is just your run of the mill police action person stop.
Yeah.
And I think why I want people to see this is, and we're just going to play clips from it. It's like a 5-minute video from a Facebook auditor guy who looks like walks around New York City and films police officers and screams and yells at them while they're trying to do their job. So I wanted to show the video because this type of activity, this type of action, police are engaged in every single day. And this type of stuff happens every single day.
Yeah, for sure.
To the police. So
we should give no context and then show some clips and then give the actual context of what happened before this interaction.
Yeah.
And my ID before you detain me. You should read the box and my ID before you detain me. Shut up! You're supposed to go get ID. Look at the box. Go get the box. Get the box. Get the box.
As a concerned citizen, can I know why 4 officers are here? As a concerned citizen, man, I know why 4 officers are here. As a concerned citizen, why are 4 officers arresting this individual? Let him go then. Let him go. No, that's wrong. If he's not arrested, you let him go. If he's not arrested, you let him go. If he's not arrested, he don't have to talk to you. If you found out the information is correct, he don't have to talk to you. Of his daughter and his dog. Is it because you can't verify that that's his package or not? You don't arrest for that. You do an investigation.
Okay, that's brutal. That is brutal. Those officers should probably go to jail for being super mean to this poor man who had been stripped away from his daughter and dog
on
the sidewalk in this violent encounter.
Super
extremely violent.
Thankfully, there was a DLO on scene to comfort the dog and the child.
Yeah.
And give them a safe space. So, and here's the thing, something like that. Yeah. Is your child going to be upset? Is your dog going to be upset? I thought it was so funny that the auditor is like, you're going to do this in front of his child and his dog? I'm like, the dog doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, the dog's like, cool, I'm being petted.
Exactly. By this, yeah. So I get it. Like, that's not something you want your child to see. So,
but
I'm sure these police were completely out of bounds in doing
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
retrain them, teach them how to dialogue with people.
How dare them detain someone in handcuffs? Because unlike this auditor who has no idea what he's talking about, you can detain someone in handcuffs. It doesn't necessarily mean they're arrested. They're being detained 100%. So
say what happens first. So
he obviously this guy was doing nothing wrong.
No, nothing at all.
Okay.
Or nothing even suspicious. They just snatched him up
for no reason at all.
Yeah.
And
so
threw him in handcuffs.
Yeah. So York, like lots of other places, has lots of stolen packages.
Yes.
Lots of them.
And
there was lots of complaints.
Yes.
In this specific area.
Mm-hmm.
Police officers see the man walking his dog with his daughter, walk up to a porch, take a package, walk off the porch.
Right.
That's weird.
It's really weird. And
it's weird. Even if it's your own package.
It's odd because usually you would pick up the package and go into your house.
Yes.
You wouldn't go up onto a porch, take a package, and then walk away from
that in and of itself is suspicious activity.
Right. And the law allows officers to engage with that person.
Yeah.
Stop that person.
Yeah.
That's more than enough to
some extent. Yes.
And investigate that. And
so this guy doesn't get thrown on the ground. They stop him. He immediately becomes non-compliant.
Well, we don't know. He might have gotten thrown on the ground because this video doesn't start when they first stop him.
That's right.
This auditor comes up after he's already detained in handcuffs
and yelling,
and he's screaming, he's yelling. Like I clipped the video down to not have his cursing at the police and all that stuff in there, but he's like cursing at the police, he's screaming at the police, he's trying to pull away from the police. You do see that in the video. He's trying at one point to pull away from the police. So we don't know what transpired beforehand, but based on his actions when the video starts, is we can surmise that when the police stopped him, he was not cooperative.
Yeah, he freaked out.
He freaked out because he was getting stopped by the police for picking up this package. But police are not mind readers. They have to look at what's in front of them and decide, do I have enough reasonable suspicion to stop this person, detain them to conduct an investigation? And if you have someone walk up into a porch, take a package, and walk away from that porch, that is more than enough reasonable suspicion to stop, detain, and investigate. And if you're going to stop, detain, and investigate, and the person you've stopped, detained, and are investigating goes completely out of control, yes, throw cuffs on him and try to gain control of the situation.
And continue your investigation.
Right.
Yeah.
Which they were trying to do, and nothing that this guy did was helping them complete the mission.
Yeah.
Which was simply to determine whether or not he had stolen a package or not.
Right.
That's
super easy.
If they would have went up to him and said, "Stop, you're being detained. Is this your package? Can we see your ID? Can we verify that you live there?" Because I'm sure right away he just flew into a rage. I mean, he's in a rage when he's in handcuffs. So had he just cooperated, this stop would have been over before this auditor came up and started videotaping this. And then this auditor is not helping the situation at all. He's standing there. He's screaming at the police.
"I'm a citizen. Why are you detaining this man?"
As a concerned citizen, I demand to know why this person is being arrested. Dude, go away.
Yeah.
You're interfering with our investigation. I mean, honestly, that auditor, I feel like his actions rose to the point where he could have been arrested for obstruction.
Yeah.
Like,
you're making it difficult for the officer to hear what the suspect, what the person stopped, is saying.
Yeah.
Like you're being distracted. So it makes it an even more chaotic situation. That's not the police officer's fault. They have to be able to hear what the guy's saying, find an ID, look at the package. Like, they're trying to do all of these things while you got some Yahoo over here. "I'm a concerned citizen." Like, bro, can I just end this here real quick? I just got to check this ID. This is super easy.
He literally has no idea what's going on. Yeah. I'm sure if he would have been there from the very beginning, he would have filmed from the very beginning.
Right.
So he's getting there partway into this incident.
Or it's clipped because it shows something that doesn't get the clicks, you know what I mean? But I don't think so.
Yeah, that's true. But regardless,
this package winds up being his own package. So it's no big deal. This should have been a minute and a half interaction, with the police saying, "Hey, man, hold up.
Yep.
Can I see your ID? We've had a brash of these stolen things. We've had lots of complaints.
In fact, we're out here.
I bet this is your package. Can I see your ID? Can you tell me where this package came from? Just give me a little bit, and you'll be on your way."
Yeah.
That's but it couldn't go that way because the person they stopped jumped through the roof.
Yeah. And here's the thing: as a citizen who lives in an area where a lot of package thefts are happening, if I did that, if I walked up to my house for whatever reason, I'm walking past my house to go somewhere else, grab a package, and I keep it moving, and I have an unmarked car pull up to me and stop me to check me out, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys.
Hey, good looking out.
It is my package. Here's my ID. I appreciate you guys stopping and making sure, because I know that this is happening in the area.
Right.
And the last thing I want is a package stolen off my porch. Yeah. So really appreciate you guys stopping me, checking me out. Like, I get how it looks. It looks suspicious. I just happen to be walking past my house. I need to go down to the corner store.
Right. I'm here with my daughter and her dog.
Just be a decent human being.
Right.
But that's not what happened. And so you get thrown in cuffs, you get detained. The whole process
He
takes
drove
longer.
the actions is what it looked like.
Yeah, completely. And watching a video, he completely drove the actions. And yeah, so this came on my radar then because I saw on social media that the York City Police Commissioner put out this update to the public. He put out this, he says, message from the commissioner following up, explaining our actions to my community, reference community concerns about this video incident. So he puts this out, and I'll read it quick. He's like, once again, responding to community concerns, I inquired with my leadership team and began conducting an initial review of the situation. Earlier today, around 4 p.m., my officers were conducting increased patrols in the West Market, Hartley, and Penn Street area in response to an increased number of complaints of vagrancy, drugs, prostitution, open lewdness, public drunkenness, package thefts, property damage, and other suspicious activity. When they observed an individual walk up, remove a package from a porch, and walk away. Being proactive, as I've always asked of myself and my people, officers subsequently engaged the individual, began questioning and investigating a suspected package theft. During this encounter, while trying to gather information, determine the ownership of the package, and make reasonable attempts to prevent the suspected theft, the individual escalated and was temporarily detained for safety while officers continued to investigate. Once calmed, officers were able to identify the individual as the proper owner, at which time he was released without further incident.
Yeah.
All great. All great.
Yep. So I love that he put in all of the complaints that they've had.
Yeah.
So like that doesn't sound like a fun area to live.
No.
And it doesn't, and that area needs policed.
Mm-hmm.
And vagrants moved along. The drug use moved along and arrested, dealt with. Like you want that. So their own agency directed their officers to do more patrolling, and be more visible,
and be proactive
in an area that's falling apart.
Right.
So that way the citizens who live there can have a better life.
Yeah.
That's the goal of law enforcement.
Fulfilling their mission.
Super good.
Okay. Good up to this point. Then the commissioner goes on to say, while 8 times out of 10, these encounters are resolved quickly and without issue, there are such occasions when the exchanges are more escalated, more than we'd like them to be, and times when police are incorrect. Wait, what?
Wait a minute.
On this occasion, it's understandable that the individual was upset as he knew he was in fact in the right, while my officers, acting on reasonable suspicion in accordance with the law, policy, and good faith, did not. With that being said, as they were serving under my authority, I take full responsibility, and I would like to apologize for the inconvenience caused. Why? Why are we apologizing to this guy?
Yeah.
Why are you suggesting? Why are you putting out there this idea that your police officers made a mistake? They didn't make a mistake.
No.
They did exactly what you asked them to do.
Right. That is a suspicious thing to do, to walk up and take a package and walk away. Like it just is. It just is. If a police officer sees that, you should stop them.
Right.
You absolutely should stop them and investigate. Unless you know them. If you know they live there, like, okay, that's a different story. But like,
I mean, I'll hand it to the commissioner. He's like, I take responsibility for the situation and their actions. It's my duty. I'm in charge. Yeah. I like that.
He's owning it.
But you're saying you made a mistake. Yeah. You're saying that you and your officers made a mistake. They didn't make a mistake.
Right.
They did their job.
It was an inconvenience. It's not a mistake, though.
Right. You know,
it's inconvenient to get stopped by the police. For sure.
It's inconvenient to get stopped by the police, but you know, I don't paint it as you're painting it. You're painting it as like
that he was in the right and the police were in the wrong.
At times police are incorrect. They're not incorrect in this situation. That's what he said in his statement. Yeah. Like this exchange escalated, and at times police are incorrect. Yeah, sometimes police are incorrect, but not in this situation. They were not incorrect in how they dealt with this situation. You know, he's like, as always, thank you to everyone who brought this matter to our attention. A complaint has been filed, and the matter will be thoroughly reviewed and addressed accordingly, and will be better for it. So I don't know anything about Commissioner Muldrow. I've been on his, personal Facebook page. I think the guy genuinely cares about his community. Yep. I think the guy genuinely cares about his police officers. I think the guy genuinely cares about doing the right thing. But I also think he tends to not do his officers a favor with statements like that, because you're you're basically painting a picture that yes, the person stopped, caused and escalated the situation, but our police could have done a better job. And my question is, how could have the police done a better job?
Just ignored it.
Like what do you want them to do? If you want them to be proactive, like
there's going to be, if police officers are proactive, you're going to have these types of incidents.
Right.
You're going to have them.
I don't understand. Like that's a leader who's and I don't know any New York City police officers right now. And I don't know what they think of their commissioner. But just from the outside looking in, I'm confused.
Yeah.
Because, okay, commissioner, you set up this detail. It looks like it's York City police officers. It looks like there's probation officers in there. So they're probably looking for people who are on parolees who are maybe doing the wrong thing. Like it's a team effort to try to combat crime in this area. You've asked them to be proactive. You've said that in your statement, but then in the same token, you're saying they could have done better. What commissioner could have we done better in this situation?
Right.
Arrest the auditor? Yes, we could have done that. That's what he 100% was interfering with that investigation.
I don't know. He's pretty far away. He's just yelling.
I don't know.
Distracting.
I think stuff like that, he's distracting them. They're forced to engage with him. Yeah. He's demanding answers. He's interfering with law enforcement action. It might be verbally, but he's interfering with it.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think we need to get back to the place where we arrest people like that are interfering like that. I think it rises to the level of obstruction.
Yeah.
100%. Maybe not without first giving an order like you are obstructing our investigation. You must leave.
Yeah. Or stop talking.
Stop talking. You may stand. You may
later.
videotape.
Yeah.
I will talk to you later. And then if it continues, he gets hooked.
Yeah.
Give him that warning, whatever. But this type of action, like this auditor will just keep doing this until he gets hooked.
Yeah.
So there's
one thing to document it if you want to. You know what I mean? Like document it, but like
stand off and videotape it.
Don't be yelling and screaming when the officers are trying to de-escalate the situation.
Stand off, videotape it. Afterwards, if you want to talk to the person who was stopped and detained,
interview
talk to them.
Yeah.
After it's over, hey, sergeant, officer, whatever, can I talk to you real quick? Officer, the sergeant doesn't need to talk to you. It seems like this guy is probably a problem for the York police on a regular basis. He fancies himself to be an auditor. I'd be like, I'm not talking to you. You don't need to talk to him, but or maybe you do talk to him and try to like explain.
If I didn't have anything else going on, I'd talk to him.
Try to explain what's going on. Try to explain to him, what's happening. A person like that's not going to accept your answer anyways. But
no, but at least you could.
At least you tried. Yeah. So, and then on the commissioner's personal Facebook page, I found this. So he put this statement out on his personal Facebook page, and then some of his responses to people who responded to that post were interesting. One person said, "I appreciate it, but you don't need to take responsibility. They do." Meaning the police. Being targeted is real, and even if they have their own reasonings, they need to learn to understand the perspective the victim is taking that would cause him to feel targeted and wrongfully accused, which he was. Now his daughter, too, will grow up feeling the same uneasiness when cops look her way or approach her. This is how it starts. And he wrote back, "I appreciate you. Just know that I'm trying. We're a work in progress. Today's not our finest day, but I have some really amazing folks, and we're going to get there." Commissioner, your officers did their job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like,
it's unfortunate. Yeah. Here's the thing. The guy who felt targeted, the package owner.
You're right.
That's a great opportunity for you to tell your daughter, "Hey, the police did a great job here today."
Yeah.
Like, if I wasn't the owner of this package, they just stopped somebody from stealing a package. That's exactly what cops are supposed to do.
They're out here trying to help us.
Yeah.
But
he flew off the handle.
Yeah.
He got so offended so quickly that someone would think that he was stealing a package.
Right.
It happens. People steal packages. And obviously in this area, They are.
And here's the thing: when the police stopped him, if he would have been like completely like cordial, oh, like thanks a lot, guys, I really appreciate it. Here's my ID. Suspicions immediately lowered. But when they stopped him and he like flies off the handle, suspicions raised through the roof.
Yeah,
that we definitely got a guy here who's out stealing packages.
Right.
You know,
right.
And I'm sure when they saw his ID then and saw that it came from the house and everything, his house, I'm sure they were like, why are you acting like what would possess you to act like this? Like you literally,
it's your package, dude.
It's your package. Just like literally all you have to do is just chill. And you know, I don't know. It's another person wrote, cuffing the man in front of his daughter when no crime had occurred, only suspicion of the possibility of a crime, was uncalled for. The citizen had every right to be upset as he was doing absolutely nothing wrong and was emasculated and humiliated in front of his child and the general public. I appreciate the female officer's effort to keep the dog and child calm.
Yeah.
Which I think is super interesting.
Yeah.
The only officer praised is the one who's like not dealing with the situation, not like
I like that. There was enough officers.
Yeah, there was enough officers to and for sure, I'm sure the girl was scared. But was the girl scared because the police stopped her? I'm assuming it's her father. Stopped her father, or was she scared because of the way her dad was acting, and then he gets cuffs thrown on him?
It scared her. Yeah,
right. Just and he responded to that. I totally understand on his personal Facebook page.
Yeah.
The commissioner. So I just Commissioner. I don't know him, but it seems like he cares about his community. He cares about his officers. I just am like, what do you want your officers to do? If the commissioner doesn't know and doesn't support his officers and what they're doing and talks out both sides of his mouth in this situation, the general public will be empowered to do the same thing.
Yeah.
If your commissioner comes out with a strong message and says, my officers absolutely did the right thing here, they were acting proactively, and the actions of the person they stopped caused him to be handcuffed, responsibility lies on him. He should have acted in a more professional manner in front of his own kid instead of forcing our hand and having to detain him in handcuffs to do our investigation that could have simply been over within 1 minute had he just complied with what we were asking him to do.
And in reality, it's a neighborly and community-oriented response to be cooperative with the police.
Right.
Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you automatically fly off the handle because the police stopped you, that's a problem.
Right.
Like, there's no reason for it. Like, you're not being a good neighbor because police are part of the community.
Right.
Without the police, it's not going to be a community.
There's that neighbor word again.
That's why I brought it up. Yeah. Full circle, right?
Yeah.
But like, if you're going to be a good neighbor,
right,
the police are part of your community. They're your neighbors. In reality, they're trying to make your life better. They really are. They're trying to make your life better by engaging with the criminal element or a potentially criminal element. That's what they're trying to do. So every one of these interactions will happen until that area is cleaned up. Once that area is cleaned up, guess what? You don't have the police stopping people picking up packages because it's no longer happening. You can leave your doors unlocked.
Right.
Like, that's where we've come so far that, like, we're not being neighborly to each other. Not we, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
We live in such a society that, like, small crimes are just overlooked, like we've been talking about, or it's just part of life. It shouldn't be.
Right.
You should be able to leave your door unlocked.
You should be able to have a package delivered and have it stay there till you get home.
Exactly right. But it hasn't. So the community, which is the police, as part of the community, is trying to interact and stop and bring some type of like normal societal, good, neighborly relationships.
Right. And in this specific situation, the commissioner could have put all the weight of that on this guy who was stopped instead of, again, talking out both sides of his mouth and suggesting that his police made a mistake. They didn't make a mistake.
Yeah.
They were doing their job. They were being neighborly.
They were being neighborly.
They were being neighborly.
Yeah.
And then you had a a subject who was not being neighborly,
Right.
Who was being a poor example to his daughter, who did not interact with the police correctly. The responsibility lies
that's
on
just
him.
an abnormal. It's like a person to person interaction.
Right.
Like I have no desire to interact with anybody like that.
Right.
Like police officer, someone selling me a coffee.
Right.
Like, why are we interacting like that? Like as if we're enemies, right? We ought to be like in a society where we're neighborly,
Right.
like respect and appreciation for one another all of the time.
And there's a way to file a complaint. Like if you feel like you've been mistreated, there's a way to do it. Acting like that, if you feel like you're being mistreated, is not the way to do it.
No.
And it's not going to work out well for you. But yeah, being neighborly. That's the new term, being neighborly.
Well, I mean, I think it's a good term.
It is a good term. I just, like you said, full circle, you know, the term being neighborly or being a good neighbor has been hijacked by a progressive liberal narrative that suggests something out of that is not true. You don't deny the rest of the word of God to be a neighbor.
And you don't deny one neighbor's joy and peace for another neighbor's joy and peace.
Right. Like that's not being a neighbor.
It's not being neighborly.
Right. So
I don't know.
Anyways, I'm glad you're my neighbor, Gary. Hopefully, I didn't treat you very neighborly at the beginning of the episode. I got on you hard there, so I need to apologize.
But that's
for not being
neighborly.
neighborly.
That's the kind of neighborly relationship we have.
That's true. Yeah.
And I like it. I enjoy it.
We talk some trash.
All right, man. I think we did it.
Yeah, I don't got anything else.